A very lovely good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Pooja, and I've been recording my videos on biochemistry. So today I just gave it a random thought that I was just going through, different type of videos. So I was just looking for protein purification. So I didn't find much material related to protein purification. So I just decided I'll make a video on the purification of proteins. Now, all of you know proteins are the building blocks and they are the polymers of the amino acids. So if we have to study the features, if we have to study the structure, if we have to study anything related to proteins, we have to come down to the level of the amino acids. So this is how we, purify proteins also. And purification is a very, very important process. How do we separate them? Separation, whether it is on the basis of the charges, whether it is on the basis of the size, this all we are going to discuss in today's video. So let's start up with the discussion. Methods of protein separation or purification. Now see, proteins, just now I told you, they are formed from the amino acids. And all of us know that amino acids have a zwitterion structure. Zwitterion structure means they can behave as acids, they can behave as bases. And this particular point becomes the process of protein separation. Now, precipitation reactions of proteins means precipitate. The proteins are easily precipitated whenever we add a salt in it. So there are two processes. One is salting in, one is salting out. What is the basic difference in this? Salting in is in the presence of 5% sodium chloride. It increases the solubility of the proteins, and on addition of salt, it starts coming. In salting out, ammonium sulfate or sodium sulfate is used. It is used to saturate them so that the salt starts settling at the bottom. At that particular point, we can take the protein out. And globulins are separated by half saturation and albumins by full saturation, because this depends on their molecular weight. Molecular weight is the predetermined point in this separation. Right, so these are what precipitation reactions. Then these are the different properties and these are the methods which are used. In case if we talk in terms of solubility, salting out is the method. Just now I told you, salting out means we are actually making protein interaction so much that protein is easily precipitated out. If we talk about the size, because depending upon the size, R group varies actually. Amino acids have this type of structure. So this R group will vary, and this will vary the size also. So gel filtration, ultracentrifugation, and SDS page along with dialysis, along as they separate proteins on the basis of the sizes. Then comes charge, because obviously they are amphoteric in nature, acids and bases they can behave. So on the basis of charges, the method used are ion exchange, HPLC, electrophoresis, and isoelectric focusing. If we talk about molecular charge and weight, this is PAGE. PAGE stands for polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. If we talk about affinity binding, it is affinity chromatography. If we talk about hydrophobicity, it is hydrophobic interaction. So these are some of the properties of proteins and the methods employed to separate them. If we talk about gel filtration chromatography, gel filtration means we are using a specific gel for that, whether it is Cifadex gel, whether it is agarose. Agarose is for DNA and RNA separation, or whether it is acrylamide. So it separates proteins on the basis of the molecular sizes, one thing. They help in determination of molecular weight of purified protein. And that is why it is also known as molecular exclusion chromatography. Very, very important. Then if we talk about column chromatography, column means there are two phases. In fact, this is the basis of chromatography. They have a mobile phase and they have a stationary phase. Stationary means which is fixed, and mobile is which moves. So stationary, the sample interacts with this phase, and mobile is flows over the stationary phase and carries along with it the sample to be separated. This is column chromatography, and this is the fastest moving substances eluted from the column, and this is how we separate. And this is the column, and always remember it should be tightly packed. There should not be any hole, any air space in this, because if the air is there, it will clog in that, and it will obviously influence the movement of the molecules. Then comes ion exchange chromatography. With the help of ions, we can separate. So obviously, when we talk about ions, it is the charge. There are two types of exchanges, cation exchanges and anion exchanges. If we talk about cation exchanges, positive ion, right? So stationary phase would be 1 and negative charge, or here the medium will be CMC. CMC stands for carboxymethyl cellulose. So slowest moving would be obviously positive charge, and fastest moving would be negatively charged. This is an example of cation exchanger, carboxymethyl cellulose. Then one is cation exchanges, other is anion exchanger, and the example of anion exchanger is DEAE, diethyl amino ethyl cellulose. See, diethyl amino ethyl cellulose. Here it will be reverse. Here slowest moving would be negatively charged and fastest moving would be positively charged. Where in case of cation exchanges, slowest moving were positive and fastest moving were negatively charged. So we can select the medium by which we can separate. Then comes size exclusion chromatography. It separates molecules on the basis of the size. And stationary phase composed of cross-linked gel particles. And simple, smaller molecules will enter the pores and are delayed in elution time because they will move slowly. And larger molecules do not enter and elute from column before smaller ones. They won't even enter also, so we can collect them. And the molecules which are smaller in size, we can collect them later as elution volume. So this is as per the basis of size. As you can see here, smaller molecules, there is a difference between smaller molecules and large molecules. So this is the elution profile of a large molecule, and this is for a smaller molecule. So that is why it is known as size exclusion chromatography. Then affinity chromatography. It is based on affinity of specific proteins for specific chemical groups called ligands. So what happens is this is a ligand and specific protein molecule will bind with it, and rest which is not required, it will be washed off. So this is a specific affinity binding. As you can see here. Okay. And then comes hydrophobic. There are so many different type of, methods. The only thing is that we can change the nature of the ligand. So here the matrix will have hydrophobic ligand, which binds non-polar groups on the surface of the proteins. Then comes electrophoresis. Phoresis is movement in the presence of electric current. So electrophoresis is the movement of molecules when an electric current is passed through it. And they can be separated on the basis of the charge, size, or shape. Obviously, we use a gel in that. So gel is of two types. One is agarose, which is used for nucleic acid separation of DNA or RNA. And polyacrylamide gel is mainly used for proteins, whether it is native page or whether it is SDS. So that depends. Polyacrylamide has more resistance towards larger molecules than smaller. And if protein is treated with SDS, it is known as SDS page. It is a more reliable and authentic technique used nowadays to separate proteins. As you can see, most common method of separation, SDS is used for molecular weight determination as well as for assessing the purity also of the proteins. So that is why this is used nowadays. Then isoelectric focusing. The most important property of amino acids or proteins are they have their own isoelectric points. So if we try to separate them on the basis of isoelectric point, it is isoelectric focusing. We are focusing on the pi of a protein. This is very important again, because at a particular isoelectric point, there is no charge and it stops. There is no net movement. So we can aram say estimate, assess the protein or the amino acid. Then all of you know that there are different structural organization of proteins: primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, and quaternary structure. This I will be taking up in detail in my next video. So in this video, I just gave you a brief introduction about the method of purification of proteins, which was different type of chromatography and different type of electrophoresis. So if you like my channel, then don't forget to tune in for my next video, which will be actually on the determination of primary structure. What is the use of secondary, tertiary, and quaternary structure? So wishing you all the best, guys. See you in my next video.